How's everybody? I hope all is well. And we're back here again for another episode. And just wanted to check in, tap in, and see what's going on here with this. We were talking about groups and people working together. And so I'm staying on the topic of leadership, but also combination of subordinates and all of that good stuff. So, but yeah, I'm always going to when I tap in, I always got either a book, video, or some clips or something that I can show to tie it in. But I was reading this book on empowering, and again, following up on the conversation where we were talking about how we could all work together and help each other out, but you usually need a leader. So and just try to gather as many people on your team or whatever project that you're working on. But and then their own dedication to their confidence. It has to be their confidence and them being able to rise to the occasion. So, but usually though, when you have a leader with a large vision, knows and means of the accomplishment, I should say, that knows the means of the accomplishment you're trying to work on. And let's see, at the core of leadership is guiding and empowering those who lead. And then when we do that, the skill, love, and grace that affects radiates far beyond what you're trying to accomplish, what you're trying to do. So, but when the talents of others are unleashed, and this is, like I said, it's all this book. I was reading this book by Harold Myra. And it's pretty much leadership that I was talking about. But when talents of others are unleashed, it multiplies the leader's impact. And so again, we're saying unleash and multiply. And the truth is that leaders must work not only with their credentials and be, brilliant leaders, but you have to understand that, you'd rather get a man or woman, 10 men or women to do the right job rather than do the job of 5 minutes. Hold on, I got to call him. I have to do this back.
It's so important to be able to take the time with people and not do it with an attitude. I've seen managers that do that. They say, well, this is the reason why, but they really don't want to be telling them the reason why. You shouldn't ask me a question like that. You just do it. And I think people should ask. I think it's really important that you have people that want to ask. But now remember, again, what are we looking for? We're not looking for compliance. Because compliance means if you're not looking and they can get away with it, they'll probably, do stuff anyway. They need to understand why, and they need to get buy-in. The greatest teams, if you read books like Good to Great and things like that talk about building teams and building great teams and organizations, are the ones where you have good people, but they also have a sense of buy-in into whatever they're doing. And what does it take? What is the difference between compliance and buy-in? It's you make the difference. It's how you present it. It's how you communicate with them. It's about the respect that you build. If they don't respect you, then when you say this needs to be done, they're not going to be nearly as wholehearted in doing it as if they have a deep respect for you. Every interaction you have with one of your employees is either building the respect and trust level or tearing it down. You need to know this. Sometimes it's just very subtle. The same is true with your spouse, your significant other, and your children. Every action, every interaction, they're looking at what you're doing. They're looking at how you handle the situation and how you're communicating with them. They're asking the question in their mind, does this person care about me? And trust levels are going up or down. Now, I'm talking about a lot of touchy-feely stuff here. Don't get the wrong idea. I'm a pretty strong manager, and I believe in discipline and doing things right, okay? But I also think that if you're doing it from the wrong power base, you're going to create dissonance in the people that you're working with. And they carry that dissonance to work with them every day. And when two of them go on break, they will talk about you in a dissonant way, about your policies and procedures and the conversation that you just had with them and all that kind of stuff, and it breeds more dissonance. Now, your job is not to be their best friend. Your job is not to be liked. But the thing is, you get respected and you get trusted not because you're somebody's best friend, but because they observe how you carry yourself and they just feel like you're doing it right. They respect the decisions you make. They respect the way you talk to people. Now, I'm talking about a lot of touchy-feely stuff here. Don't get the wrong idea. I'm a pretty strong manager, and I believe in discipline and doing things right, okay? But I also think that if you're doing it from the wrong power base, you're going to create dissonance in the people that you're working with. And they carry that dissonance to work with them every day. And when two of them go on break, they will talk about you in a dissonant way, about your policies and procedures and the conversation that you just had with them and all that kind of stuff, and it breeds more dissonance. Now, your job is not to be their best friend. Your job is not to be liked. But the thing is, you get respected and you get trusted not because you're somebody's best friend, but because they observe how you carry yourself and they just feel like you're doing it right. They respect the decisions you make. They respect the way you talk to people. They respect the way you handle difficult situations. And by the way, every time you deal with a conflict with one of your employees, everybody else is watching. Hopefully you're doing it in a closed room behind closed doors, but people talk and they're wondering what's going on, and they will find out, and that builds trust or tears trust down too. Avoid generalities. Let me give you an example of a generality. You got a bad attitude. Does that make your attitude better when I say that?
No.
No, okay. I didn't think so.
So, not to sound negative, but when you're trying to light a fire and get everybody motivated, you're putting fire into other starts with integrity and significant cause. Yet the flames need to be flamed regularly, and primary way to do that is through praise. So, meaning once you set that flame, you gotta find a way to feed it, and basically that's through praise. So you continuous praise and letting people know their input is good. If you should observe an occasion to give your officers or friends a little more praise, or workers, co-workers, teammates, whatever, they're just due and confess more fault than you can justify to be charged with. So less fault. I mean, obviously you're gonna give them feedback if you got fault, but less fault. You try to motivate and keep their energy, their fire going. You may be able to compel people to maintain minimum standards by stressing doing their duty by the highest moral and spiritual achievement. Depends, and it depends on the person. Everybody's different. So, all right.
My name is Mac, and I'm a leadership and team building coach, but I work specifically with first-time team managers. So here's the deal, and you'll have to let me know in the comment section below what you think, but I'm thinking that, the best aspect of leadership is also, in a lot of cases, the most difficult aspect of leadership, which is dealing with people. It really is. It really, really is. And I would argue that in order to be truly effective in a leadership position, you got to love people, because it's like John Maxwell says, right? Leadership is influence. And we all know you can't influence things. It's all about influencing people. So you got to love people in order to be able to navigate, the different personality styles on the team and the different strengths on the team and the difficult personality styles on the team. That's really important too.
The general rule that I found is that people buy into a cause. They want to know that they're doing something for the purpose of, something in service of other people for a greater good. Also, when people buy into a cause, people want to contribute to that cause. If it's something that they buy into, they care about, maybe themselves or their families benefit from there, then they want to contribute. And that's how most people get their fulfillment. So if you bring that towards the projects and how to get buy-in on our project teams, I think there are 3 components of how to. Number 1 is setting the vision. Setting the vision. So you, the project manager, you're the lead. People are looking for you to set the vision, be in the forefront, and painting a picture for them. So paint a picture and how your project is for a cause. So even if they're in corporate America, or for your company or your organization, the project is being allocated, it's being funded, it's having resources for something for the cause. It just may be that your team members may not know that. A lot of times now that we're trying to do more with less people and trying to get things done quicker, sometimes we just cut to the chase and we just start doing tasks and trying to produce deliverables. And when that's done, people really lose the essence of why they're doing what they're doing. So you as the project manager want to set the vision and paint a picture of what the team and what this project is about. Number 2 is place them in it. Place them there. Place each person on your project team there in the vision. Let them see, hey, you are important. You are an important team member because you're contributing in this role, and you are important because. So let them see that they're actually in the picture. They're a part of. And again, people want to contribute to that. And then encourage and support them along the way. The most critical thing for the project manager is always asking, hey, or encouraging, great job. You did a really good job with that. So people are encouraged to continue doing good behaviors you want to continue.
We survey CEOs, police officers, truck drivers, cooks, engineers. If people are working, we've surveyed them. And what we know in terms of their happiness, workers all want the same things. There's 3 billion working people in the world, and about 40% of them would say they're happy at work. That means about 1.8 billion, or almost 2 billion people, are not happy at work. What does that do, both to those people and the organizations that they work in? Well, let's talk about money. Organizations that have a lot of happy employees have 3 times the revenue growth compared to organizations where that's not true. They outperform the stock market by a factor of 3. And if you look at employee turnover, it's half that of organizations that have a lot of unhappy employees. The miracle thing is you don't have to spend more money to make this happen. It's not about ping pong tables and massages and pet walking. It's not about the perks. It's all about how they're treated by their leaders and by the people that they work with. So I'd like to share a few ideas that create happy employees. Idea number 1. In organizations where employees are happy, what you find is 2 things are present: trust and respect. Leaders often say, we trust our employees, we empower our employees. And then when an employee needs a laptop, and this is a true example, 15 people have to approve that laptop. So for the employee, all the words are right, but 15 levels of approval for a $1,500 laptop, you've actually spent more money than the laptop on the approval. And the employee feels maybe they're really not trusted. So what can an organization do to have a high level of trust? The first organization that comes to mind is Four Seasons. They have magnificent properties all around the world. And their employees are told, do whatever you think is right when servicing the customer. To hand that trust to your employees, to do whatever they think is right, makes the employees feel great. And this is why they're known for delivering some of the best service in the world. Idea number 2, fairness. The thing that erodes trust in an organization faster than anything else is when employees feel that they're being treated unfairly. Employees want to be treated the same, regardless of their rank or their tenure or their age or their experience or their job category compared to anyone else. When I think about great organizations who get fairness right, the first organization that comes to mind is Salesforce. They found that men and women working in the same job with the same level of proficiency were making different amounts of money. So immediately they calculated the difference and they invested $3 million to try and balance things out. Idea number 3 is listening. So to be a listener who connects with all types of people, we have to unlearn a few things. We've all been taught about active listening and eye contact, an intense stare, and a compassionate look. That's not listening. Repeating what the person says, that's not listening. being humble, and always hunting and searching for the best idea possible, that's what listening is. And employees can feel whether you're doing that or not. They want to know when they talk to you and share an idea, did you consider it when you made a decision?
Imagine for a moment that you're miserable at work and you're thinking about quitting, but you're really good at your job. Colleagues come to you when they need help. Clients praise you. You have a supportive manager, and you may even be paid really well. Would you walk away from that? Now, I know what you're thinking. Why would someone walk away from what sounds like a dream job? But I know that I have. And at first, I actually used to be so guilty and felt so ashamed for feeling so miserable and wanting to leave. But the more that I shared my story, the more I realized that I was not alone. Because it turns out that great people quit good jobs all of the time. The real question is, why? There's a saying in American business that people do not quit companies, they quit leaders. From my personal and professional experience, I believe there's something much more at play than just people quitting leaders. Attitudes and beliefs shared by the people working together. So in this context, culture then provides a sequence of instruction and code for how people are treated, how decisions are made, who gets hired or fired, and what behaviors are rewarded, promoted, valued, and recognized. And just like your body, the culture of a company adapts to any environment that it finds itself in. The human body is a fascinating instrument in that it can go from fight or flight, survival mode, to thrive, depending on how favorable conditions are for growth and sustainability. Cultures are no different. So you see, when people at work are unhappy, especially great people, it stresses the entire organization. This leads to a company culture operating in survival mode. So what does a culture in survival mode feel like? If you hold your breath the moment you walk into work in an attempt to make it through the day, and you do not exhale until you leave the office, and you do this day in and day out, that is a clear indication you may be working in a company culture operating in survival mode. Constantly working in this type of environment is at best uninspiring, and at worst, it is exhausting. So, what does a culture in survival mode look like? It is an environment where at the top of the house, there is a lack of clear leadership. And because there's no clear leadership, this leads to a misalignment of the vision or direction, where the activities and decisions made throughout the entire organization do not match its core values. And since the vision is misaligned, this leads to no clarity in the roles and responsibility of its people. And because there's no clarity in the roles, this leads to compromised values or beliefs. And it becomes a place where mediocre performance is accepted and even encouraged. Once you have compromised values, this leads to toxic behavior being tolerated by employees and leaders alike. And it becomes a place where people are constantly disrespected for no good reason, and everyone's opinions are not valued as equally. Once toxic behavior seeps in, this leads to a cliquish environment. And it becomes a place where there's a lack of diverse thought, the wrong people being promoted, and no appreciation for community, affinity, and recognition of others. And guess what? Once you have a lack of diversity and inclusion, this leads to stagnant organizational structures and processes. And it manifests into a place that becomes too difficult and too political to get any damn thing done, which leads to great people quitting good jobs. But it doesn't have to be this way.
How do I get my employees to work as hard as I do? My reply on email, to make them equal partners. The way I think about getting team members on board is by caring more about their needs than mine. Most operators and business owners think that just because they pay someone that they should be doing what they want them to do. I think this is an incredible, vulnerable framework. People talk about wanting their employees to be loyal, yet they're not loyal. I think we have audacity at the ownership level, at the leadership level. The way I do it is through empathy and compassion and putting myself in their shoes and asking why would they want to be on board. I reverse engineer their emotional graph, and then on an individual basis, I try to understand where they are on their journey.
So in closing, if this has been insightful, somewhat amusing, entertaining, educational, or you got something out of it, I appreciate you. You can hit that like button and subscribe, whichever you can give me. Hey, let's do this. And as I always say, hope all is well. Hope you all doing good. Appreciate you. And till we see you, till we do this again, peace.